Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Fine. Hi everyone. Just adjust my table a little bit. There we are. Hi Michelle. Hi everyone. Hello Mel. Hi Annette. Afternoon. How are we all today? Hi Mum. Hi Michelle. Hi Bev. So we may have a few more watchers today because I think Phil has shared this to his Facebook group as well. I'm actually going to be making this card and it's using some of the items from the compendium box. So the border. Hi Bev. So I'm going to use one of the embossing folders from the compendium, and then I'm also going to be using the charmed labels today. Thank you Mel. Yeah, it's I'm using slightly different colourways today as well, so I'll show you the card a little bit closer. Hi Tina. So the card is actually a panel card with a gap either side, and then when you open it up, it actually decorates the back to hide the workings, and then we've got a nice little centre bit for your little writing area there. Hi Deborah, hi Dawn. So yeah, so this is what we're going to do today, and I'm using some of the papers and stuff from the compendium as well. So I'm actually using one of the A5 or C5 cards from the compendium. I'm actually using some colour card from the compendium, so I'm using these two. Hi Jean. Also using these two pieces as well, so which have come from the compendium box. So yeah, so I'm using, so the Papillion Paradise have come from the compendium box, and I've chosen this lovely paper. And on the other card I actually used this one with the butterflies on here. So it's going to have a slightly different look on the card today. So that's my paper from that. I'm also going to be using this green sheet, which has come from the watercolours accent, and this little green piece here, whereas on this one I've actually used the pink, one of the pinky light ones. And then, as I said, I'm going to be using the charmed labels, and I'm actually using the 4 largest dies from there. I'm going to use the border. I'm going to use one of these, so I might use the butterfly on this one today. Hi Sandra. Hi Mum. Hi Carolyn. Hi Jennifer. And I'm also going to be using the Papillion Paradise Flourish sentiments. So again, you can use any sort of sentiments and stamps. I just really like these ones. So let's have a little thing here. So The only added extra I've added to everything from the compendium box, because these papers, this card, the pattern paper, the watercolour paper, that's all come from the compendium. And the only thing I've added then, hi Roswin, and then the only thing I'm going to add is it's a piece of 200 gram, but you could use 250 or a 300 gram piece of card. This is super smooth, so it's stamping card, but that's all I'm doing on this is stamping the sentiments, so, and for writing on. So this is, doesn't have to be anything particularly. Hi Teresa, hi Julie. So let's continue with the card. Hello, hello, hello. There we are. So this is what we're going to do today. So the first thing we need to do is to take an A5 card, and the cards that come in the compendium are actually already scored to be folded. So what I do, I just fold that back, and most of the time C5 or an A5 card will have a slightly larger side, so I'm making sure that larger half is to the top. Yeah, these dies are absolutely glorious, aren't they, Julie? They're really, really nice cards. So I've just folded that card just to get my centre mark, and then I'm going to bring in a trimmer. So this could be any of your trimmers. It could be the one with the little one that slides up the middle, because you've got the stop area. A bit more difficult with the guillotine, but they can still be used. And I need to cut these into 3 panels. So this is the front part of the card. So the first thing I'm going to do, so the height of a C5 card is 21 centimeters. So I need to cut them in 3 lots of 7. So if I bring it to 14 centimeters, which is minus in 7 off this side, and then I'm going to bring my guillotine down, and I'm watching the blade underneath here when it stops on the fold mark. That's that one, and then I'm going to bring it into 7, and I'm just going to bring that down a little bit more. There we go, and that's that one. So now I have a card that's cut with 3 panels, and that's all I'm going to. They cut like a dream, those dies. They surely do. They are absolutely amazing dies. And I'm actually using a grand caliber today, so, and that's all I'm going to do is cut down the centre score line to take the centre piece out. So I hope everybody's okay today and having some nice weather. It's a bit chilly here in South Wales. So yeah, so there is the start of my card, and that is the front part there. So I can pop that to the side for now. And the next thing I'm going to do is bring in one of the dark colour pieces of card that I've chosen to use. And so this, again, this is from the compendium box. Again, you could use any of Phil's cards, or I know with our customers they like our pick and mix. So I've chosen the 2 colours like this. So I need one of them. Windy, very windy but dry in Fife. Yeah, it is very cold with the wind. Oh, it's lovely. Never been to Fife or Scotland or anywhere like that. So I'll have to start visiting these places, I think. So what I'm doing, I'm taking an A4 piece of this, I'm putting it in landscape into my trimmer. and I'm cutting it to 14.5 centimetres. And then I'm going to turn the 14.5 centimetre piece and cut that to 20.5. And the reason I've cut that is because that is going to be the piece that's going to go into my centre part of the card. Okay, so that's going to go into there. And if you find it's just a little bit less, just come down a little less, so a couple of mil off, and then we've got that card. So this 14.5 by 20.5 centimetres. Hiya Judith. So that is for the inside of my card. Okay. Then the half that came off there, I need to cut to 14.5 while it's portrait. And then I need to cut two pieces off of there which are 6.5 centimetres. So there's one at 6.5, pick my piece back up, that's 6.5. So these two pieces will actually fit to the front of those two panels there. Okay, so we've got that. So this piece might come in handy later, so I'll just pop that to the side. So now that I've cut, I think I'll keep this card in play here so you can see everything there. So now I've cut the colours here, I now need to cut the background cards. So I need to cut the colour that I want to put on the background here and the colour that's going to go on the top of these two panels. So for that I've chosen a slightly lighter green tone of card, and that has come from the watercolour Papillon Paradise watercolour accent paper. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut that to a couple of millimetres under 14 by 20 centimetres. So if there's any questions, anybody, please feel free to ask. And the reason I've cut that to just a couple of mil under 14 by 20 is because that then will fit into my centerpiece there. Okay, and that's nicely centered on there. Just shows a slightly different bit of colour. And then I also need to cut the two pieces for the front panels there. So again, I'm going to cut it to 14 centimetres, and I really like these little watercolour accents. And I'm going to cut these to 6 centimetres. So each white panel was 7, then the darker green was 6.5, and so these ones are going to be 6. So I'm just going down 0.5 centimetre on each one. So that's that one, pop this back in and cut that to 6 as well. Okay, so that is them. So I'm just going to keep all these little pieces to the side, because what I want to do now is I want to bring in the an embossing folder, and on the original card you can see that I've used the swirls and I've just put them through like that, and I put the two pieces on at the same time. So today I'm actually going to use the Butterflies in Flight embossing folder. So this is I think it's a 6 So you can use any embossing folders, but these are really nicely deeply etched. So I'm going to use this one, and it's a 7x5" folder. And that's all I'm going to do with this one. Is I'm going to place my card at the bottom of this one, my card at the top of this one, and I'm going to place them through together. So I'm not worried about undoing the very bottom, because I'm going around the edges of these with some glitter later. Just push them in. So I'm going to put that through my machine like that. So I actually got the ground caliper today, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the white cutting plate and the thin white adapter plate. So each machine will be a little bit different, so just look at all that. Love the little half dies that come with the big dies. They are lovely. That's all I've done there, is just pop that through. And that's all that does. It just gives that light paper some nice deep embossing. Okay. So that's quite nice. That folder is absolutely beautiful. It's very, very deep and really, really intricately etched. So that will go on there, and that one will actually go on there. Now I could rub some ink over the top of that, but I'm actually going to leave them quite simple for now. So that was the Butterflies in Flight. So the next part I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this little border. I'll cut the little border out. Let's take my plates to the side. So this is one that's come with the compendium, but I know Phil has got all sorts of different other ones, and you know, border dies are lovely. You can get all sorts of different ones, and what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to take my 200 gram or 250 gram super smooth. Oh, lovely. It is a lovely kit. We can still get them from Phil, I think. So if anybody would like one, just let us know. I know it's out of stock in the shop at the moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut a piece of this to put through my machine. Okay. So we just grab the plates. And I'm just going to use a piece of low tack tape just to hold that in place. So this could be the Scotch one or one of the others. And then pop that through my machine as well. So I'm going to cut everything I'm using today just to show you how easily everything cuts. And as you can see, the pieces are already coming out of that border. Out of that border die, and in fact if I just run my finger across it like that, they're just coming out really, really easy. So you don't even need a brush or pokey tool, and the only time you might need a pokey tool which I have one of Phil's little poke tools here, just to push through. So that is my little border die done. So I'm going to pop that to the back. Okay. Put my poke tool to the side. When you're using your poke tool and you pop it to the side, just pop the little cover back on there. That means you won't stab yourself then. And then I can just remove all the little bits and pop them in the bin. So I'm going to pop that to the side with the card, just so that I have it there ready. And then I'm going to bring in, yeah, the compendium box is stunning. I like the actual box as well with a magnetic clasp. Yeah, it's got lots and lots and lots of stuff in, well worth the money, well worth the money. So I'm actually going to use the label dies now, and I'm going to explain how I make sure I can fit them all onto my sheets to make them as cheap to make your cards so that you're not overly wasting your card. Okay, so with the card itself, I'm going to be using, every panel is going to be used, so I'm using the 4 larger dies from the charmed labels. Okay, so as per the card, I'm going to start with the largest. So the largest will come out of the patterned. Okay, now the pattern on the paper is a certain way. They could be sideways, but I think they need to be more that way. I'm going to go by the big blue flower, so I want the big blue flower to be up the right way. Okay, so when I look at the card, I need a large scallop, which is the largest, and then I'm taking the next scallop one down, which is a 3rd die, and I want one out of the pattern for there and one for the pattern there. So to make sure you can get everything out of your paper, because all these you're not going to see the back of them, so all I've done is place my die on there and just make sure that you can get another 2 out of there, and I've just made a light pencil mark around just to show where it fits. So then I know that I can actually get my pieces out of there and there's going to be no problems. Because if I had cut the big one completely right up against the side there, it probably wouldn't have room to cut one of the small ones there. So work out your small ones as close as you can and then do your big one. Oh yes, I will definitely make sure those butterflies aren't upside down. So what I'm doing, I'm just going to cut my paper, and I've got a pencil mark from where I marked it earlier around the die. So this is going to be my largest, so I'm just going to place that on the top, and I'm going to place a bit of tape across the top of that just to hold that in place. And I'm going to put that through. So I'm going to do a piece at a time now and just do that. Yes, I've done that before. Made a card and then realised butterflies are on the pattern paper are the wrong way up. So the butterflies are flying downwards. When I lift this card up out of the way and I bring this in, the scallops it just falls out, so that's fine. The little pieces are already coming through. So how is everybody today? Are you all having a good day? The embossing is really lovely. It's quite deep and it's just to show that this die cuts really fine. You can just see how fine those little scallops are around the edge. It's rather quite fine, absolutely stunning. And I think Phil said they were the closest they can actually get it without it being a problem for the die. So that was my large one cut, and that was for the centerpiece here. Okay, so that was that. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pop that to the inner part of the card ready. Then I need to take the rest of the paper. Now we know we're going to squeeze the 2 into the bottom of that paper. Windy but dry in London today. Oh, lovely. At least it's dry. At least it's dry, Leslie. And I'm going to just pop that through there as well. But what I'm going to do on the ground cowbirds, the pressure is always better with the way you turn the handle. So I'm going to pop that die and put it in with on the side of the handle. All Phil's goodies are fab. They surely are. With Phil, we know the quality he gets is always the best he can get, and we know all his dies cut just superbly. They are really nice. Getting quite a bit from Phil these days for our shop, so it's been really nice. Just nice to use his products as well. So he does care about what he brings out and the quality of the products as well. So then I've cut the second one of these, the first of the smaller ones, one which will go into the inner back there to hide all the workings. Oh right, not far from London as well, so no problem, Alison. So that's going to go there, and I just got one more of these to cut. So always try to lay out your dies, even if you have to make pencil marks on the back, just to make sure that you're going to get the most out of your paper. It's such a shame to waste quite a bit of the paper. You want to hold on to as much of it as you can, especially because it's so pretty. And then so I'm just joining you. That's okay, Helen, no problem. So that's the last of the scalloped cutting ones. That's the second one now to go on the front, whereas the other one is going on the back on the inside. You'll be able to watch it back, Helen, anyway on YouTube, on our YouTube. And our YouTube is under Valley Craft. and I think this is something like number 55 or 56, I think. 55, I think. And we're hoping that it's still going to be, that Monday will be the day that people can start coming back into the shop to look at the products, because we have got a full shop now, or a shop full I should say. So I've now finished with the large scallop piece, and I finished cutting the 2 scallop pieces out of the smaller scallop, so I shall put them back with the dies there. Okay, and then the next cutting parts are going to be the more solid areas. So on this one here, I've taken the smaller one and cut a piece of white for that, and I've also cut a piece of white for the front, and I'm going to show you what to do with that in a bit as well. So I need to cut two of these pieces, and because this is 200 gram, the good thing about using 200 gram is that I'm able to fold it, able to stick that on there and put the 2 sheets through together, because Phil's dies are really good and will cut through the both sheets of that. So when I put that like that, I've now got the 2 pieces already cut in one go. So the one is for this, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that later, and one is for the centre. Okay, so I'll pop the centre one into the middle of the card, and I'll pop this one to the front of the card there. And I just reuse my tape all the time, just to make sure everything is fine with that. So that's that one and that one cut. So the next thing I need to cut from all of these is the dark colour from the largest non-scallop. Okay, so I need to cut one for here and one for the front as well. So I'm just utilising the dies as much as I can for the pattern I want to use. Now I don't think, just make a little mark in our paper, no. So I'm going to get one out that way and I'll get one out that way. Okay, so let's do the first one, pop that there, and these dies are absolutely lovely. The little sort of, doesn't do a piercing as such, but it does a little sort of dotty pattern around the edge. It doesn't actually cut all the way through, but it looks absolutely, adds that little bit of detail. To that. Okay. So I'm actually going, that's one piece, and I'll just show you those little dots if I can. Just hold up to the camera and wait for it to focus in. So you can just see there's little dots right around the edge. That's absolutely lovely. There we are. Marvellous. So that's the detail that Phil puts into his dies. It is pretty amazing. In fact, I can get the other one out that way, so I'm actually going to cut that way because that's plenty of space, and that'll leave me a big long piece to cut something else out of. So I expect people will be really pleased when they can start going back to their classes and at the shops they go. So I still have that piece left, and if I just tear that bit there, tear that bit there and tear that bit, I haven't wasted all that piece of card either. So that is all of them. But I'm going to keep the middle size one of these out, which is what I cut the white out of, because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that in a bit. Okay, so now we can start looking to put this together. Okay, so of course you can put flowers, you can put all sorts of different decorations and accents onto this card as well. I kept it quite plain and simple. Okay, so right. So that's nice and clean. So let's bring in our card. So our card, we've got all sorts of little bits. So we've got 2 of the small scallops. We've got our 2 panels for the front. We've got the large panels which they will fit onto. We've actually got one of our borders. We've actually got our card which we've cut at 7 and 14 centimetres. We have a large panel, and then we have 2 of the small panels, one for the writing on the inside and one for the sentiment on the outside. And then I have my inner matte and layers for this card. Oh, there's a shame, Leslie, didn't realise that. So videos and stuff like that then a great thing for you then. So I'm going to be using 2 different types of glues today myself. I know Phil's got his own glue, but I've sort of always used this since we've used this, which is the original high tack, and I am going to be using some Kalal all-purpose as well. Right, so first things first, let's put the base on. So I actually like using my high tack, which never clogs. Do have a little bit of wiggle room at the same time. So that's that. And I'm going to use my all-purpose Kalal on my papers. I just find that, even though it's a thick paper, I do find that I prefer, and I've always been like this, I prefer to use my all-purpose on papers. But obviously some people can't use this because it's alcohol based and it does affect breathing sometimes. So that is going on there. So this is all flat because it's inside the card and it would stop it from closing. Okay, and then this paper, there's a little butterfly there, and that's flying the right way, it's coming in to land onto the blue flowers. So I'm going to use my all-purpose Kalal on that one. And this large panel is going to go central. So what I'm doing, I'm sort of almost 2 scallops there and almost 2 scallops that are in line with this, and then I'm just centralizing it to the inner panel, and that's there. And because there's no glue on the scallops, they still sort of lift in a little bit, gives you that nice little... I'm glad, Leslie. I'm glad. I'm glad our shop is your internet. Or my internet is your shop. Yeah. So these classes, these lives are good, I think, for lots of people. New people have been watching the lives and getting into crafting as well for something to do as well. So that is this piece, and then I'm going to leave the white bit for that because I'm going to be putting other things on. I don't want any marks to go on my white piece. So the next part I'm going to do is bring over, and I've got a little rough bit there, so I'm just going to cut that off. So they come over like that, which means you can see this panel through the centre. And all I'm going to do now is bring in the two panels for there. And I think I actually put these on flat on the last card. So I'm just putting a bit of glue around the edges and a wiggle down the middle. Just popping that into the middle of that panel. Just do the same with the top one. So have you watched most of the lives on YouTube as well, Leslie? Because we've been doing these a while now, so the lives. And then, because this is a paper, again, I'm just going to use my all-purpose. Some people might use double-sided tape. Okay, now, okie dokie Judith, well hopefully by the end of next month we might be able to get back into classes in the shop. We've just got to wait for those final agreements and stuff from the government. Have fun. So I'm just popping these onto there. It's just nice to put that little bit of embossing into those little panels. So the butterflies are really, really nice to just hold them up. Yeah, really, really nice. Okay. The papers are lovely. That opens up nicely as well. Okay. So the next part is we need to place our panel that's going to be on the back of here, which will cover for this. Well, if you go to YouTube, Leslie, there's if you look for Valley Craft, I think it's Valley Craft Limited, you'll see our little yellow sort of sunray logo as well. We've actually done about 50 odd lives, so you could pick up a few more little hints and tips from there as well. So what I'm doing now is, this is the front end where we put the die and cut down, and it's got all the little marks around the edge, the little dots. So what I'm doing, I'm placing that upside down, and I'm going to place it central to this panel on the back. And then if you look, that panel comes over there. So if I turn this way, that's all I'm going to do now is, so if I show you with a bit of paper, If I put a piece of paper there, it means that I need to put glue on this green piece at the top here. If I put that there in line with that, then I need to put glue on the bottom of that green bit there. So just there and there. Okay, so I'm going to do, because what we need to do, this is going to be fitted onto this side, but it means then that you know it's going to be centered to that panel, which is what we need. Oop. I moved it. There we are. So what I do then, because the glue is already there and the panel is in place, I can just bring them over and push that down. And I know that when I put the panel on the front part here, I'm still going to see these little scallops coming through the sides. Okay, and now when I lift that up, I've actually got my panel there. And it's actually in place, and I know it's central to the back panel there. Okay, so it's all now really central. So I'm now going to take my all-purpose again onto the scalloped pattern, and because this is still the inner, yes, so the classes I tend to, every month I actually record the class I'm doing. Thank you, Elizabeth, I forgot about that. So all the classes I do, when we can go in, I record every month's class, and that goes on a Facebook page, and you can pay for that on our website, and then you get access to that Facebook page for as long as Facebook is going, basically. So that's another way of following cards, and they're always different cards to what we do on live as well. So that is that. Now I do want to bring in the next panel. This next panel I want to put on the front, but I want to raise it up. So what I'm going to do, so this is what I've done on there, so you can see there's a little gap between, if I open that up, you can see there's a little gap between the two pinks there. So I've raised that panel, I've raised the next panel, and I've raised the next ones as well. Okay, so all the front is quite raised up. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my foam pads, and I'm going to take my scissors. Just going to break some off the roll, cutting down the middle to make them smaller, and then I'm going to place one on each corner, one in the centres of those two bits there, and then just the one in the middle. Bump. Push them down, and then they got the little grabby areas there. So then I'm going to come in, going to balance this top and bottom, and I'm also going to make sure it's in line with the green underneath. Like so. I'm going to push that down. So now we have green panel on the front, we have the green panel on the back. Okay, so that's that. Then I'm going to bring in the next panel, which is the flowery one. Just going to go onto the centre of there. I'm going to lift this up as well. one in each corner. This panel's a little bit smaller, so I could just go 1, 2 like that. Yeah, when I used to do my classes, I used to just do printed sizes and instructions, but now I actually record the video so that other people outside of the area can actually buy those classes as well. So there's that panel there. Okay, now I do want to put a little piece of these up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut 3 scallops. So there's 3. And that's 3. So I'm going to have 3 going up underneath there. I'm going to have 3 going up underneath there as well. Okay, so that brings a little bit of whiteness to the top, to that there. And you could actually do this card that way as well, and then it would stand up like that as well. So you know, there's, and you can have your writing panel in there. So you could do this card in different ways. You could put a big butterfly on the centre instead of having a sentiment, but I do like the sentiment bit on there. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to lift that foam pad a little bit. Going to put my glue on there. I'm just going to slide that under, centralising the point there. I'm just placing it so it's on the edge of the green. There. Okay. So I've got my scallops at the top. Just lift my foam pad a little bit. Popping some glue onto that one. Sliding that under, making sure my point is central to there. So now I have a card that has the panel on it. So we've got all the scallops on the inside, which I will put a white panel there. We've got our scallop and that there, which is very nice. Then we bring that over and we have the gaps through here, got our butterflies in the background, and each layer of this is actually going up. And I still have a load of this that can go on another card, through the centre, cut in the middle, bit either side with a small panel inside. So that's that. And then the other thing I want to do to this is this little panel on the inside. Okay, so how I did this is actually using this little die that we use to actually cut out the white. Just going to move those foam parts to the back. Put the cap on my glue so it doesn't dry. And seal my all-purpose. So to do this top panel here, okay, I'm going to put those 2 cards there so you can see them. I'm going to take the panel. I'm actually going to take my press to impress, which I absolutely love. I'm a competent stamper anyway, but I really do like the press to impress. Do find it helps, especially if something moves. And now I need to work out what sentiment I'm going to use. So on these sentiments there's happy birthday, best wishes, someone special, just for you, with love, birthday wishes on your birthday. So on your birthday is one long one. So if I was doing the card the other way, I'd make a bigger panel for that to go in, or I would make a banner to go through it. So which one shall we use? I think on this one we used birthday wishes, but I think just for you would fit. Happy birthday, best wishes, someone special, birthday wishes, and with love would actually fit. Which one shall I use? Any idea, anyone? First one that pops up on the screen, that's the one I'll use. Any preference? No. Anybody want me to use one of them just so you can see how it stamps? Just for you? A nice big one there. Yeah. And somebody else would like that, so I think we'll go for just for you then. So I'm just peeling it off. Fill stamps are really quite thick as well, so they're really, really good. Good quality. And just for you fits on there lovely. So I'm going to pop that in the centre there. Wonderful. I'm going to bring that over. That'll lift that. Stamps are a little bit sticky when you first get them, but they tend to lose that a little bit. But what I want to do with this stamp, I want to stamp it in two sort of different colours. So I've actually tried my colours out. And I'm going to use a green topaz, which is this green here, because this one was too yellowy, whereas this one's a lovely green. But I'm also going to use the plum jam. So that's this colour here. And because we've got these sort of plummy colours in the flowers, I think we're going to use some of that as well. So what I want is I want some plum jam through the centre, and I'm going to put the greens to the side, but I'm going to stamp them separately, and I can do that because I've got my press to impress. So that's that. Just going to go in again. So there's my thing there. So you can see it's starting to come out. Just place that back in. And that's why I always push it to the left and to the top. And then if it ever moves, I can just go back in there and sort that out. Just going to grab, oh, sorry for getting a bald head there. Just going to grab a bit of water. And my microfiber cloth, which cleans them lovely. And then I'm just going to stamp the green. You do get a bit of black when the green goes over the red, but that's lovely. I really like that. Okay. Just to show you that. I really like that. So never be afraid to mix up your colour inks when you're stamping. Let's bring it a bit closer. Okay. So never be afraid to do that. Okay. Just get a nice difference then with your stamps, and it makes it look a little bit different. Okay. It's a nice idea, and you can do that with any of your inks basically. Even your stay-ons and stuff like that, you could use black and then maybe a silver or gold and stuff like that. Okay, so that's that stamp nicely done, like so. And then what I'm going to do with this is actually take that to the back a minute. I'm going to leave that stamp there a minute because I might be using that again. But I want to show you how to adjust this to what you want to do. Okay, push all that back to the back so I can bring in my die cutting machine. I'll just lift that one onto there. So the other thing I like using dies for is changing how they look. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm taking the die I used, which cut that shape out, but to make it a little different, I'm actually going to slot it back in until it cuts a little bit off the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to place that there. Okay, so that is actually going to cut a top bit off there. So let's pop that through. And then when you take the tape off, you end up with like a little chevron area. Turn that over, still got my little holes that they've actually die cut into. And then I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So I'm going to do now, I'm just going to do the same again on the bottom. Just sliding it into the die, so we've got, if you're not sure if it's slid in, just turn it over, push it in the sides there, and those holes will actually fall into each other as well. Okay, so that's on the bottom. So what I'm doing, I'm making a slightly different size. Making a slightly different size and shape to the die. So now I have a chevron that have come off the top and the bottom, and my little shape is now that size. Okay, which means now I've finished with this particular die. So what I now want to do is actually, I want to stamp some sort of a little pattern on these little chevron areas. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got a little bit of scrap paper. Got a little bit of scrap paper. So I can lift that machine down there. And I put the chevrons onto there. I'm going to choose now, there's little dots here and here, there's hearts, there's butterflies. So this is where you can now change what you want to put around that little edge there. And I'm thinking, because we had butterflies and stuff like that, I wondered if there'd be too many butterflies if I did that, so I'm going to go with the little dots. Okay, just going to use one of Phil's little stamps like that, the acrylic block, and then using the both colours that I used earlier. I just have to get 3 of the same colour on it. I like 3s. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just stamping some dots on there. You can see them. So that's in that colour. And then just clean off that stamp a bit. Take my cloth that's still got a bit of water on it, clean that off. So I was plum jam in an opaque pigment, but you can use any sort of. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use the green. Just using the green now to fill in the space between the red ones. There. Okay. Butterfly! Sorry, we only have decided on that because there's loads of butterflies everywhere else. Sorry. Should have looked up at the screen a bit more, shouldn't I? Right. But it's nothing to say I couldn't stamp a butterfly over that now. You know, I could take one of the smaller butterflies. Thank you with the red. And put the odd couple of little butterflies in as well. Okay. There we are, Rihanna, Elizabeth. There we are, 2 butterflies just for Elizabeth. There we are. And that's those 2 little butterflies on there. Okay. I see, so you can change it, you can do whatever you want with that. I could have just rubbed ink all across it and made it a solid colour. But then what I need to do is I need to take this one, turn it over, and I want to place some foam pads on the back of them. So I'm going to go quite close to the edge on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, thank you, Betty. Thank you for following us and watching this. I hope you're enjoying the video. I hope you're enjoying the live, I should say, not the video. Although it can be rewatched on our YouTube as well, or through our Facebook. So what I'm doing, I'm just removing the end ones. So top and bottom of the sentiment. And what I'm going to do is just catch sort of the end of, so bring that closer to me so I can just see. So I'm just catching the end of that. On a little bit more, you can just bring a little bit more. I could take it just a little bit more. There we are, so that's that one. And then on the bottom, just going to catch that there, which means now I've changed the look of that. Okay, so you can see now that's looks a little bit different. Oh, I'm glad you're liking it, Betty. And then obviously I want to raise this up a little bit as well. So what I have to do now, I have to put foam pads on the back of the two slots along the side, along the bottom there, to put some on there. To get that depth. But then where I have some in the middle, I've taken the backing off them and I'm just doubling them up as well. Okay. And that means then that I can get more of the depth, but both areas are lifted the same. That's that one. That's that one. And if I peel all that off, bring in my main card, and then when I bring that in, I can centralize that. I'm using the point to the top there and the point there just to get that like so. The sentiment stamps I've just used, Betty, I think are only available in the compendium box. I think these ones are only available in the compendium box, but I know there are other sentiments that he has got, which are lovely, and I know we've got a load, but it depends where you are. Are you a local person, or are you closer to Phil, or where are you from, Betty? So the other thing I now want to do with this is with the, let me pop that inside as well. I think the sentiments I use are only available in the compendium box, but I know he does bring out a lot of different ones as well. But they are very gorgeous, very, very nice indeed. So there's my writing panel. That's my back panel to hide the workings. Wickford, Essex. Oh, lovely. I used to have a friend who lived in Essex. And then the next thing I need to do, I want to add some of Phil's glitters. So I'm just going to get my little... right, Betty, we're actually in South Wales, so about half-hour drive from Cardiff and about 15-minute drive from Caerphilly Castle. So we're more the valleys, up in the valleys, front of the valleys. So what I'm going to do, because I brought the pink in, and there are pinks in the pattern paper, and you can see the pinks in there, I'm actually going to use the pink glitter now to add that extra bit of pink into the front part of the card. Okay, so it's got pink and looks like silver and clear glitter in there. So to do that, I'm actually going to take my glue. So again, this is just the high tack. And a few little tips. If you want to put glue over something, sort of on the edge of something like this, don't go to the edge with the glue pointed to the edge that way on the edge. Always bring your glue over the top. So instead of doing it this side, do it that side. So your glue pot is actually coming over the actual thing you want to glitter. Oh, lovely. North Wales is lovely. So all I'm doing is gently squeezing my pot as I'm turning it. And I'm literally just putting it around the edge. And what I found is it's easier to go in a line and get it to stay on the edge of the piece you're doing, because when you try to do it, if I try to do that bit like here now, it tends to go off the edge of the card, so it's a bit more controllable by doing this way. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit at a time. Okay, and then when I put the glitter on there, bit of overkill, but I don't mind pouring it out, because what I like doing, I like turning my card around, because any glitter that's captured or caught will come out. So there's that little bit of glitter on there. Now if there's any glitter where you don't want it, it's only stuck by static. Okay, so don't be afraid, just leave that there till the card is dry, till the glue is completely dry, and then and then take a very, very soft brush, like a blusher brush, and just brush that over the glitter onto your piece of paper like this. Okay. Doing postal delivery, yeah. So Elizabeth works at Valley Craft as well, and is also a crafter, so that's why Elizabeth is telling you about our postal thing as well. So what I'm doing, I'm just going around the light colour paper. So just making sure I'm not putting my hand in the glue, or definitely my hand in the glue anyway. Okay, so this is those. And then I also want to make some sort of gems. So I'll do, if I leave this glue just drip out into little blobs. They do actually hold this shape. I'll do that there. You can see they hold this shape. And when I put the glitter on them, they actually stay raised up. So I'm actually making my own gems as well, so they actually match perfectly to my glitter, and I know they're all the same colour. So you can now see that those gems, they'll actually dry raised up. Those three little gems there. Okay, so I've now got gems the same colour as the borders I'm doing around the edge. It's just a nice way of bringing a little bit of sparkle into your card without over sparkling it really. We do post it. If you wanted to order anything on the website, we would be happy to send it to you. Yes, Gavin actually thought of doing the dots so they became the gems instead of trying to find gems that would match. So it's all about having a play and trying to get them going. Okay. Just have a play, have a go, see what you can come up with. Change the card to your preferences, your papers. You could be printing your papers, your backing papers. You could even use your 12 by 12 papers and just cut them down to size. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lift that to the side, and then I can bring in the first version and the second version. But there's still a bit of glitter on my table, and because this table's been cleaned already, I know my glitter's not going to be contaminated. There we are. So yeah, this glitter is lovely. It's got all sorts of pinks and silvers and clears in there. And I think this one came with the compendium as well. But now there's all sorts of different ones. You use your own glitters, you can mix your own glitters as well. Mix your different colours. So just to show you the cards again. So we have the pink version, which has the happy birthday or birthday wishes, different pattern paper. I've used the pink background here. I've glittered around the outer edge of all these as well, so you can see the glitter is on here and around there, and those gemmy bits which are still quite raised and solid as well. Okay, then you turn it over and you can do that. And if you wanted to glitter the inside as well, just do the front, wait for that to dry, and then open it and then glitter around the inside. I might put a little bit of glitter around there again, but that is really nice. Could even cut a bigger panel to fit in there. I just wanted all our pattern to show. So that is that one. And then the one I've done today is the green, which has the butterflies. I've stamped with both colours to make it a dual colour sentiment. And it's strange because this green looks a lot darker than the green around the outer edge, and that's because there's more of a shadow being cast on this one because everything is raised up. Okay, and the butterflies embossing folder is lovely. So all those glue dots are still upright, and then that's the inner part, and then that's all that. So don't forget, you could put some 3D flowers around you. You know, there's all sorts of ways of changing that. So there we are. So that's the two cards that I've done. So change your colours, change your sentiments, add some 3D elements onto it, and that's the card for today. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Sandra. I hope I haven't missed anybody. Oh great, I'll have a look on your website. Right, okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Dawn. So I'm glad hope you all enjoyed that. Don't forget, you can share this video with other crafting friends. It'll be Bye Carolyn, thank you. So remember, you can share these videos, you can share the YouTube ones, and you know, the more we share, the more ideas go out to different people, and crafters then don't get these mental blocks, because we do get them sometimes. Thanks for your time and demo. That's okay, Sandra, no problem at all. Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Tina. Glad you enjoyed it. Don't forget, we tend to do them always on a Thursday at 2 o'clock. And even when we've come out of lockdown, we are still going to be looking to do a live every fortnight on a Thursday at 2 o'clock. Okay, so thanks very much. Thank you, Jennifer. And share the video if you like it, so that other people can follow. And have a good time and have fun. And if you do make any of these, you can either share it on Valley Crafters, or I'm sure that somebody will send us some photos of Valley Craft, and then or post them into Phil Martin's Sentimentally Yours page if you want, because they've all Sentimentally Yours products. So thank you again. Bye. Have a good day.